Hi, I'm Melanie Barr. Welcome to the She Built It Experience with Melanie. You're here because you want to experience the life and business that you crave. Join me as I talk to women who have successfully built it, a career and business that they love. We dive into the topic of how they built it and talk about everything from having the courage to make career leaps to the details of how to lead effectively, create successful teams, implement strategies for growth, and infuse tech innovation. Magic happens when we focus on the part of ourselves and our business that brings us joy. So let's dive in. Ciara Stockeland has owned and operated businesses since her early teens. Her business mindset led her to open her first store, Mamma Mia, and her second store, Mode, but she didn't stop there. Her tenacity and success led her to become a serial entrepreneur. She has twice had the opportunity to testify before 2 U.S. Senate committees regarding the Joint Employer Standard for Businesses and its effect on small businesses and franchises. In 2015, she represented small business at a White House summit on worker voice, and again in 2018 for a summit on economics. Ciara, thank you so much for joining us today. Please tell us more about who you are and about your early career experiences and what led you to become a serial entrepreneur.
I'm a third generation entrepreneur, so I was just around business forever, small business. Every single Thanksgiving table, every Easter dinner, I was listening. They were talking about small business. It was very natural to really think about what I could do as a small business entrepreneur as I grew up. I just couldn't figure out how I could sit behind a desk or in a cubicle and do the same thing over and over. And so as a teenager, I started creating businesses, creating opportunities to turn things into value. And that led me to my first real business in 2006 when I opened my first boutique store in downtown Fargo.
My father was in business development and I was an only child. And so they took me on a lot of work trips. And so it's amazing what sinks in and what you learn from your family from a young age, right?
Absolutely. I was just talking to my sister the other day and I said, do you remember every vacation we went on, we always had to stop so dad could hand out a business card? Yeah, it was just second nature, always meeting with people, connecting and trying to figure out how to build something.
And can you tell us what gave you the idea to open up your first store and how that led to your second?
I started an acting company when I was 13. I was a homeschool student, wanted theater opportunity, and there was nothing for homeschoolers. And so my mom was like, stop complaining and just do something. And so I started this little acting troupe and it grew until I had a studio and we worked with high school, elementary, college kids. So I did that for about 12 or 13 years. And then I had been married by that time, had a couple little ones, and I just was tired of the nonprofit nights and weekends. And so we decided to shut that down. And I told my husband, I remember where we were heading to Michigan for Christmas. And I'm like, okay, so that chapter's done. I cannot sit at home with my kids. I've got to have something to do. And he was like, what do you want to do next? And I said, you know what? I think I'd like to have a store, which is so random. I never worked retail in my life, but I thought I would like to have a store and build a brand. And so I started thinking about what would be a good brand to build in our community that would set me apart and be different than every other thing on the block. And so I thought about a maternity baby store. And so that's what we opened. I was thinking it would be farther down the road, but we ended opening that up 6 months after that conversation. So my restlessness pushed me into it pretty quickly.
Good for you. And it's great that you gave yourself permission to make that change because so often we'll start a business and we think we have to stay there.
Yes.
And our life evolves and we evolve as people. So isn't it so great when we give ourselves permission to change and to make those different leaps?
Absolutely. Even closing a chapter, sometimes we feel like, what will people think? Or I'll be a failure. Or no, if it's the wrong chapter for you now, it's okay to close things down and move on. And I talk to my clients about that a lot. And they're like, really? Absolutely. Give yourself permission to move on, to close, to open doors, whatever makes sense for you in that moment and for the life that you're living right now.
When my twins were born, I had the same feeling, much like you. I had supported myself since I was 19 in Los Angeles, and my twins were born, and I sat for hours with 2 babies in the nursery thinking, what am I going to do? And I came up with 2 different business ideas, and I kind of grew both of them. And I was about to launch one, and then I thought, I can't have twins and run 2 brand new businesses at the same time. And so I had to let one go. And it was so hard for me to let it go. It's great to think that you can always go back and do it later. Because I can
Right.
always go back and revive that if I decide I want to. But it's so great that you gave yourself permission to make that switch and that change. Can you tell us about SCORE? I don't know anything about SCORE.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. What a wonderful tool for small business owners. So SCORE is a national organization. It's funded. And so everything is free. It is a group of retired business people, men and women who have been in business that are just volunteering their time. So when I started my store, like I said, I never worked retail. I need some good advice. So I talked to another local entrepreneur and asked her, where do you find information? And she was using a SCORE mentor who had actually done a lot in retail. So I was able to connect with him, and we're friends today. So it's just an awesome, so you just look up score.org and then type in what you're looking for as far as business advice, and they can match you with someone locally, or you can go outside your local chapter to find what you need to.
That's great. And it's great to have someone else to go to bounce ideas off of.
Yes.
Tell us about what you're doing today.
My newest venture is the boutique workshop. So I work specifically with inventory-based businesses because of my background in retail and wholesale. I work with inventory-based businesses to really understand their numbers and to build the confidence to grow a profitable business. As a boutique owner myself, I learned as I went, and I made so many mistakes. I didn't know what I should know. And so I work with other boutique owners to help them understand the fundamentals behind building a profitable boutique business.
That's so great, because so often we stumble through certain situations, and to have someone on our side that can kind of help us make those transitions quicker and easier is so great.
Yes, I had my SCORE mentor, but I would have loved a group of peers that I could have talked to. I often look to like my bookkeeper and accountant for help with the numbers. I made so many mistakes just not knowing the right pieces. And so putting together a group of boutique owners and really helping them focus on those things, I love it. It's great.
How has your early career experiences influenced you as a business leader in leading your company? And how does that experience help your clients, your leadership style, and assist you in managing your business today?
I understand my superpowers now, and I understand what I am not that great at. Early on in entrepreneurship, well, for many years, I just felt like I had to do all the things. And I understand now, here's where I thrive. Here's where I don't thrive. And I need to outsource those things and then lean into what I do really well. So I think confidence has really come from understanding who I am, how I'm wired, how I'm made. And that kind of goes back to what we talked about a few minutes ago, giving yourself permission to change course, to quit things if you need to try things if you want to. The more we know about ourselves, the more confidence we have. I was working with one client, and she does pop-up events, and she was just really struggling with the online technical side of her website. And I said, you know what? Just give yourself permission not to have it. Like, if you don't love that, if you don't want to serve your customers that way, just because every other boutique has a website doesn't mean you have to. And that was huge. Like, really? Absolutely. So I think that's where my leadership style comes from, is really being comfortable with who I am and then giving my clients permission to be comfortable with who they are as well.
It's so great that you told her that, because if she doesn't enjoy it, her customers and clients are going to see that.
Right. And we just stress and strain over the things that we think we should do instead of doing what we really love doing. And we're always going to be better at doing what we love doing.
100%. And in the beginning, we feel like we have to wear all those hats, because if you're building a business or a brand from nothing, you take on all of it. And then you get to a point where you think, okay, I cannot scale and grow if I don't.
Doing it all.
Exactly. If I don't outsource some areas. So good for realizing the things you're good at and that you love, right? And thriving.
It took a few years,
right?
But yes,
it does, because in the beginning you kind of have to know all the pieces of your business,
right?
Because if you have to train someone new, you kind of have to know where those pieces fit.
Yes, absolutely.
Can you tell us about a particular life or business experience that is memorable to you that you carry with you today?
Yes. So as I was coming out on the other side of one of those valleys in business where things weren't turning out the way that I wanted them to, and you tend to want to have that pity party, I was out for a walk in North Dakota. It's freezing cold here in the winter. I remember being bundled up and I was walking my little puppy, and I was kind of having a pity party. Like, okay, all of this crumbled around me. What was it for? And then I thought, it was this like aha moment of, okay, Ciara, all of the pieces of what you've done so far make you who you are today. Let's pick those up. Let's put them together and see what you can build next. And then from that came the inspiration to build my next company. And so just being willing to, yes, we have those moments that are hard and sad and we want to throw the pity party, but not staying in it, but instead saying, okay, I'm going to learn from this. Let me figure out why. And then what can I do with that why? So I'll always remember that walk, either because it was 20 below, or because like something was born out of it. One of those two reasons.
Thank you for being so real about that, because we all go through those moments where we feel like we're not doing enough or our business isn't far enough. And everyone has those moments at times.
Yes.
And that is, it's okay.
Yes. For sure. Yeah, I think another moment for me, I was sitting on the couch. We hear a lot about having envy. So we look at Facebook and Instagram and they have beautiful hair and wonderful skin and a nice family and a great house. I've never struggled with that as much, but with business envy. Mm-hmm. So I remember sitting on the couch and I was like, I have to turn Facebook off for a while, because I was scrolling through and it was exactly what you just said. I've been doing this as long as her. Why does she have all these followers? I've been doing this as long as her. Why is she being asked to speak in public and I'm sitting at home in North Dakota on my couch? And it was that business envy. And I needed to say, okay, stop. You know nothing about the inside of her story, and your story is your own. So instead of complaining and having that envy, right, let's just stop looking at that and let's focus on what you do have. And that was a real moment of clarity for me as well.
I love how you always go back to your inner confidence. Let's take the things I have done and let's build from there. It usually seems to happen to me on a weekend when I'm scrolling through and getting that same business envy. And I just put the phone down. I just say, okay, until Monday morning, I am not going to look at this. And then maybe I'll get my marketing self together a little bit over the weekend and reemerge on Monday.
Yes, absolutely. But let's just put the phone down. Yeah. Let's just stop.
What gave you the initial courage to make your leap to launch your business?
My crazy inner self. I just can't sit still. I'm a really optimistic person. So I always feel like, what's the worst that can happen? So I launch it and no one comes. Okay. Then I just try something else. Right. So I think just that confidence, and that what came from my parents. For me, it's just that ability to say, what's the worst that can happen? Not much. And most often the worst isn't what happens. So let's just give it a try and let's see what works.
That's so great, because you're giving yourself permission to fail. You're saying, if no one comes, that's okay. I'll just do something else, because
Tomorrow's
have that
a new day.
Yes. Yeah. You have that confidence that whatever I do next, someone will probably come. Exactly. Or someone might even come for the first thing that you initially do. But I think sometimes we got to be comfortable with the failure first in order to make those leaps.
Yes. I heard a mentor of mine say one time, you have to have a lot of no's to get the yeses. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we're so afraid of the no's. So we don't make our offering. We don't tell people what we're doing. We don't try things. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have a lot of no's, you're not going to get that many yeses either. And so let's just go out and keep getting the no's, because you're going to get, for every no, you get a yes. For every 2 no's, you get another yes, mm-hmm. right? But if we don't go for the no's because we're so afraid, mm-hmm. we're never going to get the yeses. We're never going to grow or move forward.
Yeah. You also perfect your ability to get to yes faster. The more no's you get.
You do, because you're like, okay, that's why she said no. Next time, I think I'll do it this way, right?
Right. What is your strategy for management, for staying on task to accomplish what you set out to do, as well as motivating those around you?
So I wasn't always good at this, but I really practiced time blocking. And I did not do this in my former entrepreneurial self. Practice having time off. Saturday afternoon, Sundays, I don't work, because I think we come back so much more recharged on Monday if we give ourselves time to just be people, to be wives, sisters, friends, moms. And so time blocking within the work schedule that I set up for myself. Eating the frog. Another mentor told me this: just do the hard thing first, get it out of the way, and all of the other little things on your checklist will go so much quicker. So those are some things that I do to manage myself and my time and be as efficient as I can.
I love the eating the frog. I'm going to be thinking about that the next time
eat the frog.
I'm procrastinating on doing something.
Because you got to do it anyway. So you might as well just get it out of the way.
Right.
And it's funny when that frog's like sitting on your shoulder, it just distracts us all day and everything else slows down. So just get rid of it. It's kind of like when you go on vacation and you have to get everything done by 5 tonight because I will not have internet tomorrow. We suddenly get very productive. Yeah. So let's just live our everyday life like that then.
Right. How has your business shifted over the last year? What obstacles have you been able to overcome and what successes have you had?
So when I first launched the boutique workshop, I knew I wanted to build a phenomenal group coaching program. There's lots of group coaching programs. A lot of times they get a bad rap because people join, they feel lost in the shuffle, they don't learn anything. My goal is to build the most phenomenal group coaching program there is out there so that people that don't even own a boutique want to be in it. That's my goal. But I've had to figure out, how do you present information to a group? How do you make everybody feel like they're learning something? Because in a group, you have people that are starting out, you have people that have been in business for a long time. So just figuring out, okay, if they start with me and they don't fit there, where do I put them? How do I have a place for people to move into? And then figuring out what I really enjoy doing. So I coach, but I love group coaching. And we're always going to do better at the things that we love. And so being willing to say like no to one-on-one clients, unless I'm really excited about working with that particular project, that's hard, especially when you have people that want to work with you and you have earning potential. So those are things that have sort of evolved, like taking all of the one-on-one and making that a really minimal part of my business and then growing the group side of things.
And it has to be so interesting to hear the advice from everyone in the group collectively.
Yes. So interesting.
Do you think that's what you like the most about it? Is it's a lot of different ideas and a lot of different situations that come together instead of just one?
I think so, because I'm a very fast-paced person. Mm-hmm. And so I think I love like coming to the table. We solve a problem, boom, done, on our way. That's just, I like that kind of energy that a group brings. I love to see a group member lift another group member up. I think if you can build a group that's a non-toxic group, oh my goodness, the peer pressure, the positive peer pressure can do way more than the coach could even do. Mm-hmm. So I love building that positive group where I'm like, oh my goodness, she just told her to do that. That's awesome. Now they've connected. They're both rising in their sales or, whatever initiative we're looking at. So I love that piece of it.
Magic happens when we focus on the part of ourselves and our business that brings us joy. What is one tip you can leave with us today about how you find and live your joy?
I love connecting people. So for me, it's so much fun to get on the phone with someone or to hear a question in the group or to be with a one-on-one client and they ask a question and I'm like, ooh, this gal in the group just went through that or is doing this super well. Let me connect you. I find so much joy in connecting people. So I think if you have coaches that are listening, don't be afraid to make those connections. It doesn't diminish your role. It helps enforce what you're already teaching, if you will. So we can get a little afraid of like, ooh, I don't know, I'm the authority. Yeah, but we're all authorities in some way or another. So I find a lot of joy in connecting and seeing people thrive outside of what I'm doing or what I'm teaching too.
That's great. And it's so good to have the mindset that there's space for everyone. There's space and room for everyone.
There is. We hear it, we say it a lot, but we really need to believe that.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely. It was so much fun to chat. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Can you please tell our listeners how and where they can find you?
Yeah. So the best place to find me would just be at theboutiqueworkshop.com or ciarastockeland.com. Either one, all my contact, all my socials, it's all there.
If you are new to She Built It, we'd love for you to join us. We offer community memberships, masterminds, innovative virtual events, and meaningful connections to entrepreneurs and corporate leaders. Please also check out our She Built It shop, curated products from women-owned businesses who put their heart and soul into their beautiful and innovative products. We offer She Built It business consulting and the She Built It blog. Thank you to everyone around the world who joined today. Thank you to my editor, Rich Streffolino. Please download and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And until next time, together, let's let nothing stop us from experiencing the life that we crave.